The title is Jacob and Mahanaim. Korea has at least two major problems when it comes to national defense. 1. In the past, North Korea harassed South Korea on several occasions by sending armed guerrillas and submarines, and even attacked near the Blue House where President Park Chung-hee was located around January 21st, 1968. Currently, they are posing a threat with weapons such as nuclear weapons and various missiles. 2. China claims the Sea of Indonesia as its own, and in the same way it attempts to claim most of the West Sea as its own by building large structures called nominal fishing devices in the open sea of the West Sea, and countless fishing boats armed with hooks and weapons are harassing Korea's coast guards by catching fish in Korea's territorial waters. Let us learn a lesson on how to resolve these two problems by discussing the two issues Jacob faced in the Old Testament. Jacob deceived his brother and fled to his uncle's house to take refuge. If he returned home, he was likely to be beaten to death. Jacob suffered like a salt mine slave for over 20 years at his uncle Laban's house, and when he finally returned home, it was a sort of escape again. Laban came in pursuit with his brothers. It was an era of survival of the fittest, where the one with the loudest voice and the strongest prevailed. Jacob, in his painful life of fleeing, is caught in a dilemma with his brother Esau in front and his uncle Laban behind. Jacob met angels on the road while in a dilemma. In his eyes, they were God's host. There were two hosts. So the place was named Mahanaim, Hebrew meaning two camps. Will the angelic army of Mahanaim crush Jacob's two enemies? Jacob left his uncle Laban's house and set out on his journey. He had been living in Laban's house for a long time, and Laban's treatment of Jacob was lacking in fairness. Jacob led his family and all his possessions and left Laban without a word. Genesis. Leah and Rachel know that with all my power I have served your father, and your father hath deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God suffered him not to hurt me. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob, now arise, get thee out from this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels, and he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan. Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian. Laban felt offended and resentful, so he pursued Jacob. Worried that he might harm Jacob, God appeared to Laban in a dream and told him not to speak to Jacob whether good or evil. Genesis. Laban said to Jacob, what hast thou done, that thou hast stolen away unawares to me, and carried away my daughters as captives taken with the sword? Didst not tell me that I might have sent thee away with mirth, and with songs, with tabret, and with harp, and hast not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters? It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt, but the God of your father spake unto me yesternight, yet saying, Take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or evil. By God's grace, Laban and Jacob had a time of prayer and reconciliation and parted ways with a happy ending. Genesis. Early in the morning, Laban rose up and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them. And Laban departed and returned unto his place. Now the problem of those pursuing from behind is over, and the big problem is his brother Esau, who is attacking from the front. Jacob sent a messenger to his brother Esau to respectfully convey the news, saying, I have been with my uncle Laban and am on my way back with my possessions. I honestly hope you will overlook the past and show me favor. Then the messenger reported that his brother Esau was coming with 400 soldiers, was bringing 400 men to fight in retaliation against Jacob, who had deceived him and stolen even his birthright. Jacob, whose forces were likely insufficient to fight his brother and his 400 men, devised a plan. First, he divided his troops into two groups. Jacob thought that if they attacked, at least one of the two groups should flee. Then Jacob prayed. Genesis. Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham, the Lord which said unto me, Return unto thy country and to thy kindred. I am not worthy, I Jacob am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become two bands. And thou saidst, I will surely make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. Deliver me from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. To appease his brother Esau's desire to revenge, Jacob divided the gifts for Esau into three groups and sent them ahead. In doing so, he sought to appease his brother's feelings. Genesis. He lodged there the same night and took of that which came to his hand of present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 military camels with their colts, and he delivered them into the hand of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants, Pass over before me, and put a space twixt drove and drove. Then thou shalt say, They be thy servant Jacob's, it is a present sent unto my lord Esau. So he sent his servants across the Jabbok River as an advanced party. And as the night deepened, Jacob found himself in a dead end with no way back. Caught in a dilemma, he sent his wife, children, family, and all his remaining possessions to leave the ford of the Jabbok River and cross over, leaving Jacob alone at the ford that night. As past events, mistakes, hardships, tears, and sweat fluttered before his eyes like a slide show, there was one person there again. Who could it be? He was probably Jesus or one of Jesus' special angels. Was he the commander of Mahanaim who looked after and accompanied the lacking and unworthy human people? Did you come to personally experience through wrestling and pass through the human being the pinnacle of wicked ego and stubbornness, who refuses to surrender to the very end and knows no retreat like a wild boar, and to break his hip joint? God said that in his sight the stubbornness and ego of this wretched human being named Jacob was strong enough to wrestle with and overcome with people and God. Does God call us, you and me, who are wretched humans, by breaking our hips rather than killing us? Genesis, Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint. What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with man, and hast prevailed. And he blessed him there, and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel. For I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And as he passed over Peniel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Finally, Jacob also crossed the Jabbok River. Even Esau, who sold his birthright and ate a borrowed stew, was the ultimate boss of this land. But by God's grace, Esau and Jacob reconciled, and it is a happy ending. Instead of shedding blood with the sword, God's army defeats Laban, Esau, and Jacob through grace, bringing the grand final to a happy ending. Genesis. Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. O Laban's, Esau's, and Jacob's, all the contestants of the pseudo-demon general competition in the Saha world, hurry and return from your way to the great pavilion of burning desire and pain, the whole Hell Hotel, to the Jabbok River, where the waters of Jesus' forgiveness overflow. O Kim Jong-un's North Korea and O Xi Jinping's of China, break your hardened heart for the communistization of the world and the communistization of South Korea and the transformation of the entire globe into an animal farm through AI camera surveillance and enslavement. And come forward toward the peaceful unification of the North and South, toward the millennium kingdom of Jesus for all nations, on toward the space-time of grace. Where the space-time ends, a tremendous river of blood will flow by the blade of the commander of God's army. Joshua. When Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him, and his sword drawn in his hand. And he said, As captain of the host of the Lord am I now come. Revelation. The angel thrust in his sickle into the earth and cast into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden, and the blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. Finally, Genesis 33:4. Esau ran to meet him, and embraced him, and fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. In Japanese. In Chinese. Thank you.